Tattoo artists of Reddit, what's the worst tattoo you've ever given someone? A guy I know has a tattoo of Roman numerals with his date of birth running down his forearm. The problem is he wasn't old enough to get one at the time, so lied on the form he had to fill out, and as a result, he now has a tattoo with the wrong date of birth on his arm. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard about. I feel like he didn't think it through and didn't want to get caught in a lie when the artist started the tat based off the date on the form. 2 stories. I was in the beginning of my career and had only been at it for about 4 years. Was making a name for myself doing black and grey portraits in my hometown. One day a client came in for me. She had her husband and child with her, wanting a quote on some ink. Their child was only about a month or 2 old and they wanted to get the child's footprints with a banner that included the date of birth. No big deal, pretty standard, done these a few times before. Then, I get hit with a twist. It needs another banner underneath it with nothing in it. Confused, I asked why. They told me the child was terminally ill and would die soon. My jaw dropped. I had a long conversation with the ups and downs of this decision and tried to talk them out of it. Eventually, they convinced me that it was not just so spur of the moment thing and I did the tattoo. About 6 months went by and I had put it out of head when they came back and wanted me to finally finish it. I felt so terrible that I couldn't bring myself to do it. I had my buddy do it instead. 2nd story. 4 kids in their early 20s came in. One of them lost a bet. He had to get a tattoo and he had to let the tattoo shop's artists pick it. Being the lot of wise area we are, I shouted unicorn with a dick for a horn and my co-workers yelled dick taco. His friends laughed and he was blown away and just beside himself. His friends and him agreed to let him pick 4 of his own choices and put a number from 1 to 6 on all of the ideas, then roll a die. Well, we had one of our best artists do an amazing unicorn with a dick horn on him. I'm just glad people still hold up to their end of the bet. There are many more, but those are just the ones that always pop in my head. I did a cover up that I wasn't proud of, but that's what the client wanted. A couple came into the shop asking for a cover up of an ex-boyfriend. She showed me and surely enough, a big guy's name on her side hip. The good part was it was done in light blue ink, easy to cover. I already started getting ideas in my head of what to cover it with. Guy steps in and says, "No. We just want a star over it." The name was about 5 to 6 inches long and I explained that a star that big would have to be, at least, 8 inches big to fully cover the name. Both said yes to this. My boss walks over and gets on my ass for not suggesting something else, but I explained to him that that's what they wanted. Both looked at him and nodded. By the time it was done, this small, petite girl had a blue star covering her entire hip area. It looked cheap, tacky, get mad, just stupid. After that, I refuse to do cover-ups if the client doesn't listen to reason. Web designer here. When they demand ugly. If you absolutely insist I will do this. But I need you to sign a disclaimer promising you will never tell anyone I did it, and you need to understand that it will never ever be in my portfolio. Asked my artist this. He told me that years ago some stripper came in looking to have vines and roses tattooed on that would come out of her butthole and curl up her back. He asks why not just get the roses on her back and butt, but she insists it must come out of her anus. He reluctantly does the tattoo for a high price and said it looked pretty good too. But curiosity got the better of him after a while and he asks why she insists on having it come out of her butthole. Her response was both the strangest and smartest reasoning I could have heard for such a tattoo. She would dance and she figured the guys would ask, "Hey, how far does that tat go?" to which she could say, "For $10 I'll show you." So the dudes pay up a 10 spot. She shows her asshole real fast and done deal. She's richer and they looked at an asshole. My tattoo artist is not proud of that job. When I got my second tattoo in Boston at Regeneration Records, a man came in and asked the artist if she would tattoo a portrait of himself on his back, holding 2 desert eagles, with a banner saying "Watch yo back." I really hope he came back and got it, he seemed so enthused. This is where Blizzard got their inspiration for Reaper. Die. My sister-in-law just put a Pokemon Veiler tattoo on someone's neck. That sounds like someone who'd be on Team Veiler. You take that back. What are you, Some big city team mystic guy who is spoiled by having a ton of Pokestops and then comes to small towns to bully us little guys. You should be ashamed. Actually, I'm a rural instinct player that, even though I'm only level 7, worked damn hard to get there. My closest Pokestop is a 5-minute drive and I don't buy lures. Buddy of mine in the army got a rooster hanging from a noose tattooed on his calf so he could say he had a cock that hung below his knee. First year military tattoos are no joke. And here I thought he was trying to tell everyone that he loves to choke the chicken. I knew a guy in high school who got drunk and went out on his 18th birthday and got a tattoo of a mean looking grizzly bear on his bicep. Whoever did the tat must have been drunker than he was, because it looked like a character from South Park. It was cartoonishly bad. Not any expert by any means, but I'm guessing any tattoo artist that will tattoo someone drunk isn't a very good tattoo artist. This is accurate, though. My buddy has teardrops on the sides of his middle fingers. Anytime someone complains to him, he puts them up to his eyes and makes a pouty face. I didn't know that tattoos were a thing. Pad of thumb has a tiny violin. Pad of index finger has a tiny bow. So he can play the world's smallest violin. I need this. The worst tattoo that I wasn't given was denied to me by an artist who said I was too drunk. I owe that man or woman everything. It would have been a name tag on my chest that said hello, my name is Slim Shady. My tattoo artist told me that another guy in their shop had recently tattooed boxing gloves on a woman's vagina, in her 50s. It was for her husband's birthday and she said it was so he could beat her pussy up. Shouldn't you have tattooed them on the husband's dick, then? Knew this guy who got a disabled sign on his nipple and called it nipple cripple or some stupid shit like that. That's stupid but also just fucking hilarious. How old was this guy? 18, haha. My answer to tattoo artist who is lucky enough to be able to turn away basically any tattoo ideas she doesn't care for. Apparently one guy wanted to have bitches tattooed onto his middle fingers. If the pun wasn't bad enough, his girlfriend then called up my aunt the next day to accuse her of sleeping with her boyfriend. Lovely people, I'm sure. I asked the tattoo artist this question while I had mine done. Someone he worked with got an estimate request for a vagina to be tattooed onto his taint. She gave him an estimate thinking he'd think it too high and moved on. Turned out the other places he went to first quoted him higher, so he accepted. The guy I was talking to said he'd walk by her cubicle and see her bent over with the guy's legs up, and she said she was fine the first hour or so until she took her first break. Then it was torture for her to finish. That's going to come back to bite him in the ass if he ends up in prison.